Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Beyond the Pain, Heart and Home Healing After Loss. Today's episode is a short one, but it's on a topic that I believe is monumental. So I want you to listen fast and I want you to listen good. Today, I am talking to the people who have ever had a dream of doing something that they really wanted to do. Okay, I'm talking to the people who have ever said, I'm going to do that one day, but something always gets in the way of that. I'm talking to the people who have ever left or ever let this one small word stand in the way of the life that they've always wanted to live. Okay. Today, I want to talk about fear. The last few years for us have been a whirlwind, as most of you know by now. And in the light of everything that my husband and I went through, we have put our sole focus on our health. Okay. We made it our top priority and have given up a lot in order to keep it our top priority. Okay, we have focused on overall wellness of the body, mind, soul, etc., everything. We have done research, we have invested in doctors and coaches, and we've taken classes and listened to podcasts, okay? Changed our lives almost completely in order to better our overall health, which has been great. And the other day I was talking to my husband and I told him, like, now that we have our overall health mainly under control, I really want to focus on my outside appearance. Meaning I want to start caring about how I actually look, because for a while there, it just didn't matter. Okay. There were a lot of more important things going on in our life. And it's been a solid 3 years since I really put any effort into paying attention to what my body looked like. Okay, I've been focusing so much on what my body feels like, which in my opinion is obviously more important. But all my life, as far as I can remember back, I've always said, like, one day I will be in really great shape. Like, one day I will look in the mirror and I will love what I see, And back in my college days, I was at the gym like 6 days a week, okay? And I was definitely my thinnest. And of course, I wasn't dealing with most of the stressful things back then that I am now as an adult. So I had more time and, energy to do other things. So I was telling my husband what my goals were for this year, and that I finally feel like it's time that I can start focusing on becoming really fit as an adult, And he suggested that I tell my goals to ChatGPT and ask him. And yes, I called ChatGPT a him. Okay, I refer to him as Chad. It's just easier that way. So he said, tell Chad exactly what your goals are and ask him for a plan, ask him for a workout plan, a meal plan, all that stuff. So, and for the most part, like, I know how to eat healthy. Okay. I know what healthy foods are. That's been a huge part of our healing and health journey. I know how to work out and move my body, but I've never really put in the full effort to figure out how to reach my own personal goals for exactly what I've been looking for, all my life. And I won't go in too much detail or get too graphic and list exactly what I want my body parts to look like for you. But as a woman, you can imagine that I probably want what most women would want their bodies to look like, right? So I asked Chad to give me all the things, and he totally came through. He broke down so many things for me, gave me options and lists and plans, etc. And as I'm looking through these workouts, I realized, like, oh, geez, like, that would require me to do like a lot of things at the gym that I've never done before, So I started Googling some of these exercises because I know a lot of different exercises, but I don't know the names of them. And they all have like really bizarre names. So I start Googling the names and I start recognizing what some of them are because I see the really fit people doing them at the gym all the time. And so I start realizing, like, oh yeah, I see them do that move on that machine all the time. And oh, yeah, that person always does that move with that scary looking piece of equipment, And I kept having these thoughts and realized I was quickly like talking myself to a point of like, do I really need to do these things in order to get what I want? Or I could probably just keep doing what I'm doing, right? I mean, I'm working out, so I'm doing better than most people anyways. So do I really have to do exactly what this is telling me? Like, that would require me to step out of my comfort zone and do something that feels really scary and a little silly. So I started having all these thoughts like, what if people look at me funny when I pick up that bar that for the first time, And what if people laugh at me, like if I have to start out with the lowest weight? Or what if everyone starts mocking me because I can't find the piece to that new machine that I need in order to do these exercises that Chad's telling me to do, you know? What if people who know me start to judge me for spending too much time on this, too much time and my energy on looking good? You know, what if I start posting about this on my social media and I'm not doing it exactly right, so now all the fitness experts start thinking I'm a fraud? You know, I started having all these thoughts. They just started like flooding my head. And I'm sure you've all had moments like these while deciding on that thing that you really want to do too, you know, whether it's getting fit or, I don't know, you want to write a book or start a podcast or become a content creator, you know, or even if you just want to like learn a new hobby as a full grown adult, you know, reconnecting a lost relationship, traveling more. For me, you know, trying to get pregnant again after child loss, like whatever that thing is that is scary, the list goes on, but the thing that you really, really want to do. And so in that moment for me, when I was having all of these thoughts, I realized when I was looking up these exercises and listening to myself fill my head with all the fears I had about doing these new and scary things, I had to decide right then and there in that moment. I had to decide if I was going to let fear determine what my future was going to look like for myself. And so there's a couple of ways that fear plays out in our lives, okay? Number one, fear is an emotional response to a literal danger or threat. So sometimes when we feel fear, this is actually a very healthy emotion for our bodies to feel, and it can literally save our lives. You know, like if there's a man pointing a gun at you, chances are you're going to feel afraid of that and you're going to try to run away. Okay, that's a good thing. This is when our body goes into flight mode. Or let's say your child goes missing and you start to feel afraid that you're never going to see them again or that they're going to get really hurt or taken, you know, so you start looking everywhere and you call the cops and you get all these people involved so that they can help you too. This is what we call fight mode. When our body senses danger and we start to feel afraid, so we literally start to fight against whatever that threat is. So whatever that we're afraid of, like, doesn't actually happen. And there's a couple of other fear responses too. I believe it's freeze, and then the last one is fawn. But and my point is to not break down the definition of fear when there's an actual threat, but because the second way that fear can play out in our lives is actually what we call anxiety or anxious thoughts. We are afraid of what other people will think, but there's actually no dangerous threat around us. You know, we're just assuming in our heads that if we go ahead and do this thing that scares us, that other people might respond negatively. But you see, most of the time, we're afraid of things that can't actually hurt us. We're afraid of things that are not an actual threat to us. We worry and we're anxious about what other people might think or about the possible outcomes that will happen if I do this thing. But really, what other people think about you can't actually hurt you. You know, the possibility of me looking silly because I can't find the right thing. I need to hook this thing up at the gym to do this new exercise. Like, that can't actually hurt me. It just makes me feel a little silly or a little anxious. You know, and I actually did it in an hour-long episode all about anxiety. And I would say it's mostly for people who deal with chronic anxiety, but I also break down exactly what anxiety is, which are merely just thoughts in our head. So if this episode so far already is resonating with you, I highly suggest you go listen to that one after this one. So once we realize that we're allowing fear of things that can't actually hurt us stand in the way of achieving our goals and getting what we really want in life, we realize we have wasted so much time not having what we really, really want for literally no reason. You know, because the problem in this day and age is not, I don't know what I need to do. There are so many resources out there nowadays on literally any topic, you know, and a lot of this stuff is completely free. Like in my gym example, I was giving the exact tools that I needed in order to accomplish my goals. Like, I was given everything I needed to know. I told Chad my exact goals, and he told me exactly how to achieve them. It's easier than ever to know exactly how to get what you want these days. So the problem is not, I don't know what I need to do, or I don't have enough, resources or tools. That's not the problem. The problem is that we let the fear of something that cannot actually hurt us stand in the way of almost everything that we've ever wanted. Because what are you more afraid of? Looking silly at the gym in front of someone you literally have never met and who certainly doesn't have the right to have an opinion on your life? Or, putting yourself out there to write that book that you want to write, or, start that group that you're afraid to start, or whatever it is. Like, are you more afraid of what people might think about you? Or are you more afraid of getting to the end of your life and regretting not doing the things you really, really wanted to do with your life? And now also you're not given the opportunity to go back and try again. That is what you should really be afraid of. So start channeling your fear that way. Who cares what everyone else thinks about what you're doing with your life? In the words of Mel Robbins, let them think what they want, because their thoughts and even their words, their opinions, they literally cannot hurt you. But getting to the end of your life and realizing that you let the fear of everyone else's opinions about you dictate the entirety of your life and the legacy that you leave behind. Like, to me, that is the scariest thing that I can think of. That regret. I wish I could go back and change something, but I literally cannot. And, there's this trend going around right now where people are posting the phrase, I'm 90 years old and I wake up in and then they say whatever age they are, body. So for me, it would sound like I'm 90 years old and I wake up in my 32-year-old body one last time. And then they list out all the things that they're thankful for as that younger age, and all the things that they have in their current body at that current age. So, and the point of this trend is to get you to be thankful for all the things that are happening right now, because one day you'll wish you were more grateful for these things and that you did more of whatever those things are that they list out. And so even though I think these trends are kind of like random and sometimes a little silly, because I have no idea where the heck they come from or who starts them, I actually really appreciate this trend, because the point is, when you are old and your life is almost over, like, what are you going to wish that you did? What are you going to regret not doing? What are you going to wish you spent more time on or less time on? It's such a cliche way of thinking, but it's really true. And on the flip side of that trend going around where people wake up when they're 90 years old, on the flip side of that, we are not guaranteed to live to 90 years old. We are not guaranteed that amount of time. If you live to be that old, you're blessed. We're not even guaranteed tomorrow. So if there's something that you really want to be doing with your life right now, like something that you really want to be pursuing or going after wholeheartedly, and you're letting the fear of things that can't hurt you stand in your way, it's time to step back and evaluate that real source of fear, and to realize that your only true obstacle that is standing in your way, because it's not a lack of resources, your only true obstacle is the doubt and the anxious thoughts that start taking root in your mind, because neither of those things can actually hurt you. You're afraid of something that can't actually hurt you. So it's time to stop letting the fear of things that can't hurt us be the excuse for not creating the life that we actually want to be living. Okay, it's time to stop letting the fear of things that can't hurt us control our choices and our futures. And it's time to start realizing that right on the other side of those anxious thoughts and those feelings is the freedom to live super authentically and potentially the life that you have always wanted to be living. Thank you guys so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please don't forget to like and subscribe so you're alerted of new episodes. Tell your friends, share on social media, okay? I appreciate all the amazing feedback. I cannot wait to chat with you again really soon because I really, really love to do so. Signing off for now, your Hope Dealer, Emmy Smaz.